Previously heard on Chuck and Bo.
So I was in the lovely metropolis of Mountain Home over the weekend. I get invited to eat dinner with the great Clay Henry and his wife, Jean Ann. We went to Salsa's in Mountain Home. Their waiter, who waits on them all the time, says, Clay's in the restaurant. I didn't know you had a son. So Clay's now my father.
Wow, that's big.
I'm going to start calling
I've always
Clay Daddy.
wondered in your private moments if you would just go ahead and call him Dad or Daddy.
Chuck and Bo Show.
I would resist the urge to drink this much.
Stop. I'm done.
You said a lot of good things there.
Well, I don't know if I said one good thing.
I met a guy last night, love y'all to death, Jeff.
You mind if I share?
I'm looking forward to it.
The show of record for Razorback fans.
I'm in my Sunday school, and first thing he says when we hop in the car, he says, "Let's turn on the Chuck and Bo show."
It's too early for this kind of conversation. I'm still half asleep.
Here are your hosts, Chuck Barrett and Bo Mattingly.
You know, it kind of does my heart good to see Texas football, Texas basketball, Texas baseball suck.
That's Clay right there. Good morning. It is Texas night. Texas does not suck. This is the number one team in the country. 10 straight wins, and they're coming to Baum Stadium on a Thursday night to start a 3-game weekend. It's the Chuck and Bo Show. Chuck's going to the eye doctor today. Chuck's going to get his vision back. What kind of Chuck are we going to get back? Whenever he comes back, what kind of Chuck are we going to get back? Because a well-rested Chuck is the Chuck we all know and love most of the time. Because Chuck does value sleep. And he gets it, and he understands the importance of it. And when he gets it, who's better? Nobody. I'll just answer it for you. Nobody. Now you give Chuck some eyesight. This guy's about to go on the best 20-year run of his career. And we're going to ride his coattails. That's the plan. So, you know what? For a day to be without him, maybe 2, I'm in. I'm here for it. Bart's here. Edward's here. The old band back together again.
Let's do it.
Back to the San Francisco days. Back to the NCAA tournament. Back to Chuck getting up at 3 a.m. to do the show on the West Coast. That's the last time I think we did this without Chuck. When he was
I think that's right.
Doing games.
Yeah.
You know, now he doesn't know what to do with himself. He's not calling a football game or a coach's show or a basketball game or a coach's show. Man, we got a lot to get into today. Glad you're here. Good morning. Text, call, whatever you want to do. Dari's coming up in a few minutes. The face of the SEC Network, Dari Noka, will join us. Get things going. Got a side eye from my girlfriend last night. Oh, you guys are getting in on this Belichick thing too, huh? I was like, well, I mean, what do you mean? Well, Edward posted something on social, something from the show, a clip.
I made the clip. I didn't post it.
I mean, listen, when Charles Barkley is worried about you,
Yeah.
when Charles Barkley goes on Dan Patrick and says, not
I'm gonna have
much,
to talk.
he said not much, but at the same time, he said a whole lot.
What is Bill Belichick doing?
Well, this is a very slippery subject for me because Bill's one of my really good friends. I'm not sure what's going on. You know, he's been a great friend for me for a long time. We've been friends since he coached for the Browns. I think he got to be very careful right now. This is starting to be on a very slippery slope.
Twice.
He's the greatest football coach ever for him and Nick Saban, for college Nick Saban, for Bill to NFL. Yeah, I from what I'm hearing, it's starting to be a very slippery slope. And I never talk about people's personal relationship. That's another rule I got. But I will admit, I'm a little concerned with some of the stuff that's going on. I might actually reach out to him and make sure everything's good. But I am concerned from what I'm hearing. Yeah, it's not a good look right now. I'll admit that.
If a slippery slope is skiing, this is apparently a double black diamond for Charles Barkley.
He talked himself into hosting an intervention for him. That's what it sounded like.
On the air.
The more he talked about it, the more concerned he got.
Now that you brought it up and the more I'm thinking about it.
I need to reach out to him right now.
I don't really want to comment, but ooh.
This is kind of a bad deal.
Oof. Oof. That was like an oof.
Yeah.
That whole thing. Well, listen, I'm not into talking about people's personal lives, you know, like celebrities and whatever they want to do. But what has happened is this is no longer personal. It's become very public facing. It's like me and her. It's, it's a package deal. apparently. And she's turned into a handler, it looks like. I mean, no, really. Like you show up, you're Bill Belichick, you're like a Hall of Famer, and they say, you need to talk to her. You need to kind of see what's okay here and, if what we're going to talk about, what we're not going to talk about.
I think, didn't he release a statement recently about the Sunday morning interview?
Yeah, he called it a false narrative that his girlfriend Jordan Hudson was trying to control an interview while discussing his new book. Said the segment presented selectively edited clips and stills from just a few minutes of the interview to suggest a false narrative that Jordan was attempting to control the conversation, which is simply not true.
And then CBS actually hit back. CBS News hit back. It was like, yeah, well, that's not really true, but cool.
Well,
So Belichick said that, I'll read this quote quickly. He said, I clearly communicated with my publicist that any promotional interviews I participated in would agree to focus solely on the contents of the book. Unfortunately, that expectation was not honored during the interview. And then CBS News issued its own statement. When we agreed to speak with Mr. Belichick, it was for a wide-ranging interview. There were no preconditions or limitations to this conversation. This was confirmed repeatedly with his publisher before the interview took place and after it was completed.
I guess you could ask the question, why do we care? Why does anybody care about this? And my answer to that would be, why do we care about anything? I mean, why do we watch sports? What's entertaining to us? What gets your attention? And I'll borrow from Charles Barkley here. This can be a slippery slope, but because you can point to anything as all that attracts attention, and the whole world's built on just provocative things to just get your attention. But to me, on this one, you have a legendary coach who has built a reputation and a name for himself in a certain way. And now we're watching something unfold in a completely different way. It's really got nothing. Well, for some people it does, the age gap and whatever. And I get all that. But it's really more about, let's just say there's not an age gap. Let's say they're the exact same age and the exact same things are happening. It's still like a completely different route and lane. It would be like Steph Curry suddenly decides, I don't shoot threes anymore. We're going to talk about it. We're going to be like, he just decided like he's only going to take twos from now on. That's how much of a shift this is. And by the way, the guy's gone into college coaching. You know what I mean? To me, that's what's just fascinating about. And we're people. I mean, we do things that are strange and weird and pivot and hard left turns all the time. But that to me, that's what's intriguing about this whole thing is like, I don't even know who you are anymore. What
was it Chuck said?
Media answers.
He's
and all
lost
that.
his mind.
Well, Chuck thinks he's just gone crazy. I mean, I don't need to speak for Chuck, but he's pretty much just said like the guy's gone crazy. He the bus will pick him up at 3:30 for dinner. They're gonna go get soup. Tuck him in like it's bedtime. I mean, I just don't. Let's get to the games. I want to see what happens at North Carolina now. I mean, think about what's happened. Like, what has happened in college athletics? Deion at Colorado and that whole thing, which just was, a completely different look at college football. I mean, we've got Numbers being retired after one season, like immediately. That never happens anywhere. By the way, Numbers don't get retired like 5 minutes later. It's not like an instant. Remember the ESPN Instant Classics?
Yeah.
Like a game was played,
classic,
that's an instant classic. That like you start rerunning that one right now. That's not what you do with jersey numbers.
You wouldn't qualify Shador as an instant classic.
No, well, you like throw a Hail Mary, beat TCU, win the game, and your number's retired by the time you get up the next morning. I mean, that's what it's like. We got to get this done so fast. So we got that going on. You have the whole NIL and player. Texas is going to have a roster according to reports. Kurt Bowles, longtime credible columnist at the Austin American Statesman in Austin, covering Texas, says Texas has a roster of 35 to 40 million, which, by the way, that's so big, we don't realize the big difference between 35 and 40 million. That's $5 million. But somewhere in there, they're going to have an unprecedented payroll for college athletics. So we got that going on, and then we got Bill Belichick in this whole thing. So, I mean, what a time to be covering college sports. A lot to pay attention to, apparently. Dari Noka is going to help us maybe sort it out and make sense of it. It's May Day today, the first day of May. Thursday, we going to be okay with weather for the game tonight? Texas in town?
It should be clear by first pitch, yeah.
This is big. This is big weekend. Big. Softball's playing LSU.
Another top 10 matchup for them.
Number 2 team in the country, Razorback softball. Hey, this should be a great weekend. We need weather to cooperate. I think it will. A lot to do. Make plans. Got to be ready for this. Dari's going to join us next. Good morning, the Chuck and Bo Show. Chuck's out at a doctor's appointment today. He'll be back. We don't know when, but he has promised, it's in his contract, that he will be back.
You can tell I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
First Security is about more than great banking. Yes, we provide the financial expertise, digital tools, and everything else you need when you need it. But we also go all in on local support with friendly professionals, plus convenient locations all across the state. Because we believe personal banking is better banking. Visit fsbank.com for details. That's fsbank.com for friendly, local banking with First Security. Bank better. Member FDIC.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life, too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Arkansas's one-stop automotive shop is right around the corner. Fayetteville Auto Park. FayettevilleAutoPark.com. Chevy, Toyota, Honda, Acura, Collision Center, all in one place. And if you're shopping pre-owned, Fayetteville Auto Park has you covered. With so many new cars sold, we always have a great selection of fresh trades. Why settle for anything less than the best? Fayetteville Auto Park, West Showroom Drive in Fayetteville. Proud sponsor of the Chuck and Bo Show.
Why don't you just kind of style it up a little bit at the game? Let's get your drip going.
Hey, I got a lot more drip than you think.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
One of the rules we set down when we started this show was we're not going to leave our best shots on the driving range.
We do it every day.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
We do it all the time, though. Blakeman's is a great thought for Mother's Day. Mother's Day is coming. It's coming quick, and Blakeman's has you covered. You don't know what to do. You're like, hey, what do I get? What should I do? I don't know. Go in there to Cafe B and that newly 8,500 square feet of renovation, a sight to behold. Have a latte at Cafe B, maybe a Prosecco, and say, hey, I need some help with Mother's Day. And they'll take care of you. Get that purple bag. Everybody's going to be happy. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry, located in Rogers, the official jeweler of the Arkansas Razorbacks. Our official SEC insider is the face of the SEC network. He's Dari Noka, and he's joining us bright and early this morning. Dari, good morning. Chuck's out at an eye doctor deal today. He wants to be able to see. I don't know what it is about play-by-play, but being able to see is apparently important. So we've given Chuck the day off.
Yeah, though, Bo, he's got to combat the ever-growing popularity of jerseys where they make the names difficult to find. So you've got to be at your best when it comes to your eyesight to call these games anymore,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Chuck being able to see. I don't know how that'll affect our relationship, but it could be life-changing. We'll see how it goes. Hey, speaking of life-changing, I don't know. I don't know what to do with the Bill Belichick stuff. Like, it's none of my business with his personal life, but this isn't personal anymore. It's become like a very public-facing thing. What I explained a moment ago, Dari, maybe you can help me with this. What I'm interested in is somebody who's considered one of the greatest coaches of all time is completely different than he used to be in terms of how he is handling things. And it would be maybe not apples to apples, but like if Steph Curry said he was never shooting another three, only going to take twos, I'm going to pay attention. And I wonder what your thoughts are on what we're watching play out here, and like what's fair game to talk about.
I don't. Well, okay, so we've talked about God. I did a lot of Sirius XM over the last week, and we talked about this so much ad nauseum, and I think while it's easy to kind of sit back and all because of his greatness and his stubbornness over the years and his difficulty with the media and frankly a lot of unlikability, I think it's sometimes easy to sit back and kind of chuckle at this version of him. Like, what happened? Where's Bill Belichick? I was talking to Ben Watson, who played for him for years in New England, and he's like, I don't really know. Like, I had asked him something about North Carolina a couple of weeks ago, and he goes, I don't know what he'll do because this isn't the same person that I played for years. This isn't the same person that controlled our locker room and everything that we ever said for years. Like, I don't know how to predict anything that he'll do. I think it's okay to talk about here in North Carolina, there is a fan base that is concerned. And it's because of they don't know what the football team is going to look like, how they're going to respond to him. He seems like it would be like he'd be a difficult person to follow and respect in this version of Bill. It's not a great mark on the university, the most popular university from a fan perspective in this state. I know that Bubba Cunningham, the AD, has got to be concerned. The money that are the people that are paying a $10 million annual salary have got to be concerned. It makes the entire football program look, in my estimation, weak and without a real leader. And so from a football perspective, I think we can talk about it all day because I tend to think that all of those thoughts are valid.
It's when Charles Barkley calls it a slippery slope 3 different times in a Dan Patrick interview. He's got my attention. All right, let's talk Arkansas and the SEC and college athletics and NIL and rev share and what we're all kind of hashing out right now. all right, Tom Mars is now representing Arkansas, apparently against Madden Iamaleava, and trying to recoup a buyout. Apparently, he was given about $100,000, had $400,000 left on his deal. His deal is if you leave before it's up, you owe 50% of what's left on your contract. That'd be $200,000.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Kirk Bohls has a story out that Texas is paying $35 to $40 million for their roster this year. Meanwhile, we have rev share coming this summer, and these giant NIL rosters are supposed to go away. Are we all like it feels like we're in a 3-month run here of craziness, and then maybe things will level out a little bit. If you're Arkansas, are you making yourself look bad by trying to hold somebody to a contract? Or is that actually what needs to happen moving forward as we get into rev share and all that?
So, okay, let's go back to slippery slope for a second here. I appreciate what Arkansas is doing. I appreciate Hunter Yurichek's leadership saying, yes, we need to do this. And I know that he is saying that, and they are doing this with the hope that there will be unification across the country and other schools saying, hell yeah, man, we're going after this. Like, they can't have every single ounce of leverage that exists, and they being the players. I know that schools have been hesitant to do this because of the fear of negative recruiting against them, of who's going to want to go play for. Why would you want to go there? Look what they did. They just sued Madden Iamaleava. How do they have the student athlete's best interest at hand? They don't, but we do here at this university, and we'd never do that. And so I think there's a real concern, and has been for a couple of years, that schools that do sue or companies, NIL donors that do sue these players that, represent a certain school are going to negatively impact the ability of that school to continue to get players. I appreciate Arkansas doing this. I hope that they do this. I think it kind of runs a little bit similarly to Josh Heupel kicking out a player who didn't go to practice, right? So it's like nobody's done this before. Is it gonna come back and bite him in the butt? As far as the Texas roster, I read that article, and I thought it was a little bit misleading in the sense that Kirk Bohls did say in that article that $35 to $40 million roster that Texas is going to field this fall does include the estimated $20.5 million in player compensation from the university.
Right.
So you're looking now at an NIL valuation of more like 15 to 20 million, which is essentially what Ohio State's was last year.
Right.
So he's including that in there, and then saying that after this season, with the rev share being the thing and NIL not being what it is, a lot of that NIL money is going to go away. That, though, from what I understand, is not accurate. The NIL money isn't going away. It's just going to have to be approved by a random third-party NCAA clearinghouse who is going to be given the responsibility of determining a player's value in NIL. And I have zero idea what guidelines they plan on using to do that, because in a capitalistic society like this, your value is whatever somebody's willing to give you. And I don't know how they're going to be able to change that. So, it's going to be a longer process. There might be some come down in the NIL world, but I don't expect it to almost just disappear the way that Kirk is trying to explain.
Yeah, all great points. It's another great idea that doesn't have legs in execution, perhaps.
Everything else. The first time a player in the SEC goes to an SEC program and he's told he has to sit out a year, how long do you think that determination is going to last before it's challenged in court and eventually knocked down? I mean, it's a matter of time.
So college athletics has turned into a courtroom, and everybody's going to push and test and whatever. What's the answer here? I know it's not that simple, but part of my question, where I'm going, is, professional sports are set up to be professional. College athletics is the opposite of being set up to be professional. It feels like, to me, we have to change to being professional. like you've got to treat it all the way. We're like dipping our toe in, and we're going to be professional in like guys getting paid, but nothing else that comes along with it. And that just seems unsustainable.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about the amount of money. I'm just talking about that system being unsustainable. When does it change? How do we get there?
It changes either when the donors decide to say, okay, one, this hasn't proven to be worth it, and we're just going to stop this. Like, we don't trust these kids anymore. We don't trust that they'll adhere to a contract. We feel like it hasn't resulted in the championships we wanted it to result in. We're just going to stop giving like we've been giving. This is unsustainable for us. It's sustainable forever for the players. They'd love to do this, but for us, we can't do it anymore. And it's going to take that and or the idea of collective bargaining, which is why every professional league works the way that it does, right? I mean, here's what we're giving, here's what you're giving, sign it on the dotted line. Now you're in a world where you're enforcing buyouts, where you're enforcing payback of buyouts, where you're enforcing adherence to contracts. And until those things happen, no, this is just the way that it's going to be.
How much are you, I know you're in the studio some for baseball, how much are you paying attention to SEC baseball? Arkansas hosting Texas. A lot. All right, Arkansas hosting Texas this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Any thoughts on this series?
Well, Texas can pitch, man. I mean, they got dudes, and they got, maybe their best one is a freshman, and that's their back end guy, Dylan Volantis, who's sensational. 11 saves, I think, to this point, unless he got one midweek. I missed it, but no, they are rolling. I mean, you tell me how you walk into this league and go 19-2 through 21 games. They're not a juggernaut offensively, so I would take Arkansas's lineup against Texas's, but Texas's rotation is nasty. If Arkansas can get to it, I can see them winning that series. But kind of feels like one Arkansas needs. They've lost their last 3 series, and a lot of eyeballs are going to be on this one. And Baum Walker, I know, is going to be fantastic. So, I think it's probably the biggest. It is the biggest series in the league this weekend, and in the country for that matter. So, a lot of eyes will be on it. But it'd be nice to see Arkansas get back on track for sure.
I'm looking forward to it. By the way, how's OU football going to be this year as a former alum?
Man, Bo, the expectations are probably dangerously high. I mean, a top 3 transfer quarterback in John Mateer, a top 3 transfer running back in Jaden Ott. Their defense should be pretty stout coming back. Wide receivers that, it's not just your Pine Bluff guy, Giovanni Gibson there, but it's who got hurt, and he'll be ready for the fall. But it's and Isaiah Satania has been turning some heads, I guess, in the spring, the Razorback. They just got another commitment yesterday from a kid that's 6'4" from McNeese. I mean, they've gone the FCS route for a lot of these guys, but they were dominant at that level, and the idea is playing in a new system with their 29-year-old offensive coordinator that puts them in space with a very, very talented quarterback who can run the ball as well. He reminds a lot of people already of Baker Mayfield. The expectations are pretty high, probably dangerously high for Brett Venables, but people are excited, man.
By the way, if you forgot, Oklahoma, not you, but others, Oklahoma is in the SEC. Just as a reminder, OU is in the league. Dar, it's always great, man. Thanks for making time for us. Have a great Thursday.
Anytime, dude. You know that, man. You too.
Appreciate you, brother. Take care, man. Dari Nowkhah with us, SEC Network, the face of the SEC Network. I mean, I just went through like 15 topics with him. I just feel like there's a lot going on. I don't know what direction I actually want to go. Boogie is reportedly being offered by Florida. Boogie Fland, if he doesn't go in the draft. We got basketball. Like, what's Arkansas's roster going to look like? What do you want to talk about? 877-377-6963. I'd like 5 minutes without Bill Belichick, though. That'd be good. If I can have 5.
We could probably do that.
5 minutes without Jordan. Did Chuck reach out to Jordan Hudson to see if she would come on the show?
I think he did, yeah.
Because that was our only shot. Yeah. But we have a problem. We have a problem, though, in that I don't think, my guess is she's not on Facebook.
Yeah, probably not.
You know, did you ever think that back when Belichick was calling it Instaface and, you know,
snap
face and whatever, that this is where we would be a few years later? But our challenge here is obviously Chuck can connect with her, but we got to get him on the right platform. He's on Facebook. I don't think she is. I got to be honest, and I may offend some people here, and I don't. It's fine.
You've done it before.
Well, probably a few minutes ago.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I'm Dr. Scotty Bolding, a native Arkansan oral and maxillofacial surgeon. One of my goals is to make Arkansans healthier.
If you have sleep disorder breathing, it's important to treat it properly. The standard treatment's a breathing machine called CPAP. It helps you breathe during the night. However, there are other options thanks to some truly innovative and proven technologies.
Sleep is probably God's gift of medicine that we really don't utilize enough. If you have obstructive sleep apnea, it needs to be treated. So you need to be wearing your CPAP. So if you're not wearing your CPAP, there are some potential surgical solutions that can help you that actually work today. By correcting the jaw deformities that may be causing this obstructive sleep apnea is where we focus.
Dr. Bolding at Precedent Center for Facial and Dental Medicine works carefully with your sleep physician, determines where the underlying obstruction may be, and provides surgical solutions that open the airway, allowing you to breathe better.
Hey, give us a call, 479-755-3000, or log on to our website, precedent.com, PRECIDENT. We'd love to help.
Today's been it's been a strange day.
Yeah, we've had some struggles here. Let's just be blunt. Can we be blunt?
Well, it's 50-50 at best.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I need you to continue to carry the show. But
well, I mean, it was fun. We missed you.
Oh, I heard you.
We missed you.
Every time I hear you without me, I think, why am I there?
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Today it's my turn. Chuck's got a procedure today. We get that eyesight on another level. Our friends at McDonald Eye, I'm sure, are going to take great care of Chuck. It's going to be great to be able to call a game and see it. Probably feels like he's been calling games with his eyes closed for some time.
I know what that feels like.
For some time. I didn't believe this. I think Bielema was the first one that told me. I don't know, like 2016, 2017, somewhere in there. We were talking, and he's like, I just got back from the eye doctor, and he goes, don't laugh, and he swore at me. Your time's coming. He was not wrong. He's not wrong. But it's when you can't see right in front of you. You're trying to read. But I don't know that's Chuck. But I'm just saying we most of us are going to deal with this at some point. And for me, I'm the guy with my flashlight in a restaurant now, trying to read the dark menu. Yeah. Right.
That's a sign of the time.
Right. So you got to go, you can't be that if you don't want to be that. Like, I don't want to be that. So I had to get some readers, or I got progressives, which are actually better. They work for me. Some people really struggle. I struggle to walk anyhow, but that's more about being pigeon-toed and bow-legged, but not eyesight. But progressives can really kind of throw you off depending on where you look in the glasses. But because of mine, I'm way better off now. Being able to read, which is nice. So I'm looking forward to Chuck. Now he said, getting his eyesight where he wants it to be. He said, he was just adamant. Chuck missing a show is like we're all going to run off and leave him or something. It's like FOMO. He doesn't want to miss a show. He's like, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm like, you're not even going to be able to see. How are you getting here? Well, maybe Bart can come get me.
He's going to pull up in an Uber at
If Chuck shows up with an eye patch tomorrow, less party.
100%.
I hope he does.
We're going straight to breakfast after the show. We're going to be public facing wherever we can go. Chuck with an eye patch is something I want to see.
If he walks in with an eye patch to start the show, I might have to just leave the room.
If that happens, the live stream that you can watch on YouTube and social media, it's solo camera shot of Chuck all day.
Full screen.
Full screen Chuck. We're all off camera. Mm-hmm. In fact, let's all 4 cameras, 4 angles on Chuck.
Yeah.
One zoomed in on the eye patch.
Super close on the
Yes. That's the plan. All right. Sometimes we just plan things here on the air. Okay. So you heard about the kid that prank called Shedeur Sanders.
Yes.
He's the son of the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator. We found out later. We didn't know at the time who this was, but he's the son of the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator. What's the guy's name? Ulbrich?
Yeah, Jeff Ulbrich.
Do you have the information in here on how much the fine was?
Yeah, the NFL fined the Falcons $250,000 and found Ulbrich himself $100,000.
So the defense, and he's. I want to know how much he's making.
Working it off
yeah, he's probably making over $1 million. As the DC, probably close to like $2 million. But $100,000 fine. I don't care how much money you're making. That's a lot of money for your kid to prank call someone.
Right.
Now I still want to know how we got video.
$1.6 million.
Okay, $1.6 million, $100,000 fine, $250,000 to the Falcons. This is a $350,000 mistake. I don't know about you, but if my kid makes a $350,000 mistake, I can't afford that. Let's listen to the call. I mean, let's get our money's worth. I'm still trying to figure out how we got video.
Well,
of Shedeur Sanders' side of it. Like, who gave that video from that side?
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have video. If you go find it on social, you can see Shedeur taking the call. Somebody in his camp.
Well, they film everything.
Well, I know, but somebody in his camp released that. And I just
probably on purpose to play into their side of the thing. Like, this is
so
is
bad.
What happened.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's what happened.
I don't.
But I was just surprised. I was like, that's epic that we have both sides of the call on a prank call. Let's listen to the call.
Hey, is this Shedeur? This is Mickey Loomis here, the GM of the New Orleans Saints. How you doing? This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. Been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man. We're gonna take you with our next pick right here, man.
This ain't gonna be nothing to do.
Hey, but you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that.
So, those giggles right there, those giggles and laughs, $350,000. So, $350,000 giggle. Prank
Never
call.
prank call anybody.
So apparently
before.
the kid got, into his dad's iPad somehow at the house, when he was home, and got the number for Shedeur Sanders and premeditated this. And had Shedeur, I wonder how long he's been sitting on that number. And then on draft day, he's like, here's what we're going to do. What do you think the conversation with dad and son was like after this went down?
Not pleasant.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
That's a $350,000.
I'm guessing there was some yelling involved.
I mean, the guy could have lost his job.
Yeah, I would say he's lucky not
This
to.
is the NFL. They take the privacy thing very seriously. There's security, NFL security, team security. Like, this isn't like, my kid got into my iPad and he bought something on Apple, which happens. One of like those games, there's another $2.99 charge. This is not that. I mean, that's just like, man. So there you go. $100,000 to dad, $250 to the team.
Do you think it was worth it?
Well, the biggest mistake.
It is one of the best pranks of all time.
The biggest mistake was the teenagers filming.
Well, I mean, if you're going to do it,
you got to film it for social media. You got to put it out there.
Yeah, like if you're going to commit a crime, what are you going to do? Keep it a secret? Like, I robbed a bank. I got $2 million. Like, people can't help themselves.
You're right.
I'm freaking awesome. Look at me.
I robbed a bank. Look at the money I have.
I mean, first of all, let's not act like they're smart for doing it to begin with. Well, let me show you how really I'm so smart, and I want to show you. It's
Here's
like
how I did it.
America's dumbest criminal stuff. 647, good morning. You guys are part of my family. Everyone that listens to this show is just part of the Chuck and Bo family. We're building a community here.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, you can beat inflation and upgrade your ride at Chevy of Fayetteville. Right now, drive home a brand new Chevy Silverado, Blazer, Equinox EV, or the Tough 2500 with rates as low as 1.9% APR. Plus, take advantage of huge discounts and get top dollar for your trade-in. Go see Chris, Mark, and Denver at Chevy of Fayetteville, where the deals are big and the road ahead is even better. Chevy of Fayetteville. Let's drive. If you've been hurt in a car wreck, if you're struggling to get your Social Security disability, or you're buried in debt thinking about bankruptcy, don't wait. You need a legal team that knows how to fight for Arkansans.
That's why you can trust Cadell Reynolds. Bill Reynolds and his team know how to get results when it matters most. Whether it's personal injury, disability, or bankruptcy, they've got the experience and they've got your back.
So don't go it alone. Make the right call. Dial 866-314-3728 or visit CadellReynolds.com today.
With Oaklawn Sports, the action never stops and the season is never over. It's now easier than ever to wager on your favorite sports all year long. Go from football to basketball to baseball to golf. Bet on what you want, when you want, with the brand you trust. Oaklawn Sports even offers ways to bet on cricket, rugby, table tennis, and more. If it's a sport, chances are you can wager on it. Plus, it's now simpler to deposit and withdraw money from your account. Bet all year long with Oaklawn Sports, Arkansas's best sports betting app. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
There's simply not a better shopping experience than Macadoodles. Looking for the best selection of beer, wine, and spirits? Macadoodles or Guess Who in Bentonville has you covered. With an unbeatable selection, amazing prices, and service that's unbeatable, they've got everything you need. Whether you're stocking up for a party, updating your bar, or just grabbing your favorites, Roger and the team are always there to help. Make the smart choice. Macadoodles, just north of Bella Vista at the state line, and Guess Who in Bentonville.
We care a lot about supporting Arkansas businesses here on the Chuck and Bo Show, and we both like keeping our rides looking good. Splash Car Wash just became our new neighbors here in Fayetteville. They're a locally owned Arkansas business, and they've been serving the state since 1989. They're good folks, and you can get a free car wash by texting Splash Arkansas to 22322. That's Splash Arkansas to 22322.
If you haven't tried a flight by Yuengling, you're missing out on the great taste of Yuengling that is a light beer. It's the next generation of light beer. Get it on draft, in the can, the new skinny cans, and now the new 16-ounce resealable twist-off aluminum bottle. Perfect for any occasion. It's just 95 calories, and you're still enjoying a Yuengling. Take your beer game to new heights with Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer.
How was Saturday night for you after the game? What'd you do to celebrate?
The only remedy, I thought maybe get a few cold beers in there and maybe help it out a little bit.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, I go a little bit deeper than most people. I mean, I wanted to know.
There is. Depth is a word that comes to mind to describe you.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Brought to you in part by First Security Bank, the official bank of the Chuck and Bo Show. Friendly people, convenient locations, professionals to help you with whatever your banking needs are all over the state. You can walk in and talk about Texas, and you'll get a conversation at First Security Bank. Member FDIC. Texas is in town. It's a 3-game series. It starts tonight.
Well, you know, I was here as a player and as a grad assistant when it was pretty hot and heavy. It was fun. It was just brought a little extra excitement. You know, they're not considered one of our rival schools that we play every year. You know, we got Missouri and Ole Miss for that in baseball anyway. But I'm sure that, you know, our fans are going to see it as a huge rivalry. Texas is having a great year, throws a little fuel on the fire, so to speak. And I'm sure that our players that are on the team now will kind of get a feel for what's up when the games start and when they see how our fans probably react to having the Longhorns in town.
Okay. There's always this thing, like if you were around for the Southwest Conference days, you understand the Texas rivalry. If you grew up in Arkansas and your parents told you about it, or you learned about it from people like us talking about it, you maybe understand a little bit of the Texas rivalry. Then there's this whole group, this whole era that doesn't really have any connection to the Texas rivalry. But I think Texas has the ability to continue to help Arkansans understand through people like Brian and Ozark, for example, why you don't like Texas. So let me just go around the room real quick. Edward, who's in his 20s, Bart, who's in his 30s.
Yeah. What was that about?
Well, I don't know how old anybody is other than Jordan Hudson. Did we go 5 minutes? We made it 5 minutes. We did good.
Yeah.
We did well. Yeah. Edward, thoughts on Texas?
I'm in the crowd where my parents were imports to Arkansas, and I grew up in an era that was just the SEC. So it doesn't mean as much to me, but I still don't like Texas.
We're in the Chevy of Fayetteville situation room. Bart.
I've grown up with family members who are Texas fans or who went to Texas. So naturally, I cannot stand the Longhorns.
The arrogance?
The tea sipping, everything Clay says, I've felt in my life from Texas fans.
Simply
and Texas people.
put, they look down. It feels like they look down on us.
And they think they're better than everybody.
Yeah.
You think you're better than us?
And what's great is when you can beat a team like that. And Arkansas's gotten a fair share of those wins over the years in a variety of sports. And this brings with it a little bit more because Arkansas needs to win. Texas has opened up a 5-game lead in the SEC. And that race isn't the real important one. But for Arkansas to get back on track and to beat a team like you just described, Matt Jones coming up, Whole Hog Sports. We'll talk about it on the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
Ty Story, high school football coach and former college quarterback.
I love coaching, but it's a lot more fun after LASIK. Now when I'm coaching, I can focus on my players and not my eyes. After LASIK, my eyes are even better than before when I had glasses or wore contacts. The McDonald Eye Team was great. They put me at ease. I couldn't believe how well I was seeing the day after surgery. Good vision and good football go together. I'm really glad I trusted my eyes to McDonald Eye Associates.
See your best with safe and affordable LASIK from McDonald Eye Associates. Register for your free consultation at mcdonaldeye.com.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicher Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicher Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at weichergriffin.com.
The doors are open, and it's a new era of elegance. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry has unveiled its stunningly redesigned 8,500 square foot showroom for an unmatched luxury experience. There's breathtaking jewelry, of course, expert service, and private viewing rooms designed for comfort. And they've got an in-house cafe with handcrafted coffee to go along with a special coffee table book celebrating Arkansas's heritage. Because it's more than jewelry, it's your story at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry. If you're having issues with your gutters or drainage around the house, you need to call Hog Trough Gutters. They're locally owned and operated with over 30 years of experience. Seamless gutters made on site, trenching and French drains. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, and every job comes with a 20-year guarantee. Hog Trough Gutters services all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Log on to their website, hoggutters.com, to find out more. That's hoggutters.com.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I don't know what on time is for you, but yeah, you got here before the show started.
Whatever. Hey, have you ever seen anyone that takes so much pride in being the first one here?
Previously heard on Chuck and Bo.
You ever just kind of wandering around, and out in front of a bunch of people and you realize your zipper's down? That ever happened to you?
Not in a while.
No.
No, not in a while.
It's a stunning revelation. Like, how long has that been going on?
Yeah.
How long have I been walking around with this mustard on my tie? Or how long have I been walking around with my zipper down?
How come somebody didn't tell me?
Hey, Chuck. Good to see you, Chuck.
Hey, man, your pants are unzipped.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I would resist the urge to drink this morning.
Stop. I'm done.
You said a lot of good things there.
Well, I don't know if I said one good thing.
I met a guy last night. Love y'all to death, Jeff.
You mind if I share?
I'm looking forward to it.
The show of record for Razorback fans.
I'm in my Sunday school, and first thing he says when we hop in the car, he says, "What's heard on the Chuck and Bo Show?"
It's too early for this kind of conversation. I'm still half asleep.
Here are your hosts, Chuck Barrett and Bo Matting.
Oh, we got a big baseball weekend. Starts tonight.
Yeah, it was good being around the guys yesterday. The mood was good. Everybody's upbeat. We know how hard it is, and we know how close we were, and we just didn't take care of some things and fighting to get back on track a little bit. And what I mean by that is just be more consistent game to game.
Hogs have lost 3 series in a row, and that's unlike them. That's in fact, they lost their first home series a couple of weeks ago or whenever it was for the first time since 2022. We're not accustomed to that. But it's been a good year, even though lately it hasn't been great. I mean, if they were to sweep this weekend, for example, they would be off to their best start or match their best start, with their record at this point in the season. So it's not like it's been bad. We just have high expectations here. Matt Jones, WholeHogSports.com, joining us, covers baseball, the online sports editor, host a podcast. You can find it, WholeHogSports.com. Daily, very much in the weeds with baseball, so we want to talk about it. Matt, great to talk to you, man. It's been a minute. I hope you're well.
Hey, good morning, Bo.
Thanks for hopping on with us. You've written about this this weekend, the number one team in the country coming to Arkansas, the history of Arkansas playing number one teams, the history of playing Texas. We were talking a moment ago about just, the history of Arkansas and Texas and what era you fall in depending on what age you are and understanding what it means to play Texas. And with this weekend, you've got that, but you've also got just a really important series for Arkansas. What's kind of at stake for the Razorbacks?
Well, I mean, there are a couple of things, probably 3 things. Number one, if they win the series, they still are in the conversation to win the SEC. Now, Texas has got they've got a 5-game lead, but that's kind of like a 2-week lead, to be honest with you, with 3 weeks to play. It's unlikely anybody's going to catch them in the SEC standings, but, if you beat them, you sweep them this weekend, you got a shot over the last couple of weeks. That's number one. But I think probably most importantly for Arkansas, it's just about it's a chance to kind of hit reset and play better, cleaner baseball than they've been playing at times in the last few weeks. And this is a different team than a month ago when they were really rolling. I mean, I don't think any of us realized how significant of an injury Nolan Souza would be to the lineup. It was like he was just kind of a link down there that because he hit, 240-something, 260-something, whatever it was when he got injured, you probably didn't appreciate how competitive the at-bats were. You didn't appreciate how strong the bat speed was. And when he would make contact, that, the last base running mistake that he made notwithstanding, he was a pretty good base runner for him. And so, he played good second base. He and Vahiva Aloy in the middle, they turned a good double play together. So I think that's been a little bit more significant of a loss than maybe you would have thought on the surface when it happened at Georgia. They've got Logan Maxwell dealing with a hamstring. It doesn't sound like he's going to play in the field tonight. He might be available in a pinch hit role. So it's a different team than when they were rolling. And, that happens in baseball. Injuries happen, things happen. You have to kind of reinvent yourself sometimes, midway through the season. And I think that's kind of where Arkansas is right now. So this is an opportunity with, good competition. It's Texas number 1 this week, LSU there, number 2 next week, and Tennessee's number 6. They come in here in a couple of weeks to finish it out. It's great competition, but you do get a couple of home series, and you get to challenge yourself against the best and try to be playing your best and competitively against those types of teams. going into the time of year when you're wanting to be playing your best baseball.
Yeah, sometimes you can get fooled into thinking you're better than you are, or maybe you're really talented and you've got that much on your roster, but if you're not playing really difficult teams, you don't get challenged as much. You maybe get away with some things. There's not a lot of give in this schedule for Arkansas, and we're kind of watching them go through that right now. If you talk to those who watch a lot of college baseball and cover it nationally, they'll tell you Arkansas is still one of those teams they think can go to Omaha and win the whole thing. But what has the struggle been, Matt? Why have they struggled in some of these games?
Well, I think it starts with starting pitching. You know, a weekend series to me is like one big game with 3 9-inning increments. And when you are not getting long outings from your starting pitching, there's a down-the-line effect on your bullpen. You're either throwing guys multiple times and maybe they're not as effective the second time out, or, you know, in some instances, I think you're throwing guys who you may not want out there on the weekend in the first place. And I don't know that the second has been the case with Arkansas, but you see it from some teams. And like last week at Florida, I think their starters went 9 1/3 innings combined. Zach Root went 4 1/3. Gage Wood went 3. Now, that was a scheduled short start because he's coming back from the shoulder injury. He's trying to get his pitch count built up. And quite frankly, I think 3 innings was longer than anybody would have thought he would have gone based on the way things had gone the week before against Texas A&M. He pitched 20 pitches and got 1 out. And so to get, 9 outs and 42 pitches was a huge turnaround for him. And then I think it was a good sign that he's back on track. And then Landon Beidelshees only gave him 2 innings on Sunday. And his Game 3 performances, whether it be on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday when they played those, they just haven't been real effective for about the last month or so. And so they're going to make a change this weekend. They're not going to name a Game 3 starter. Beidelshees may end up starting Game 3. We'll see. But they're not going to name a Game 3 starter in advance. So I think that that's where it starts, is that when you are asking your bullpen to throw 15-plus innings a weekend, you're asking for trouble, because you're asking a lot of pitchers to be on, and that's just not very, that's not realistic to ask 10, 12 pitchers to have their best on the same weekend.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where they've run into trouble is in those weeks when their starting pitching has just not given them very much length.
Yeah, it's a great point. Matt Jones with us, WholeHogSports.com. You love it when a guy settles in, like a starter, and, he finds it, and, the other team's just trying their darndest to get him out of the game because they can't figure it out. And every time you bring a new pitcher in, you just don't know where that guy's going to be today. And he's got to kind of find it and get in the groove. And those are great points. Do you think they have that? Do you think they have it and they'll find it in their starting pitching? Do they have it on the roster?
I think they've got the potential. Zach Root, early in the SEC season, he threw 7 innings against South Carolina. It was a complete game because it was a run rule. And then the next week he threw 7 2/3 against Vanderbilt. And so he's shown the potential to get deep into games. The last 2 weeks, it just hasn't, just hadn't happened for whatever reason. I think it was 4 2/3 innings against A&M. I think it was 4 1/3 against Florida last week. And against Florida, the first 3 innings, that was as good as I think we've seen him pitch all season. He had 6 or 7 strikeouts through the first 3 innings of that game, maybe 8. And he was really rolling. And then the 4th inning comes along, and this has kind of been what's happened with him sometimes this year, is he just gets into trouble. And it's a 30-pitch inning. His pitch count gets real high, and he can't get deep into the game. And there was a mistake that he made last week with a pickoff throw, and just kind of a confluence of bad events. Florida's foul ground is as vast as any foul ground that you'll find in the SEC. It's kind of like, reminds me a little bit of the ballpark where they play the College World Series. And long story short, they're playing a noble doubles defense. Ball gets away into that big foul ground, and a guy scores on a pickoff throw from first to home. And that's bad luck. Mm-hmm. And so he's had some moments like that, and it seems like maybe that rattled him a little bit last week, and he never really got it going again. But I think he's got the potential. I think Gage Wood's got the potential. And I think they've got some starters who maybe haven't started a whole lot of games who have got the potential to take them into the 5th inning, maybe the 6th inning if they're really on. It's just we haven't seen that happen a whole lot on the same weekend this year.
Matt, what kind of Texas team is this? They've won 10 in a row. They've come from behind a bunch. You know they can really pitch. What's the challenge for Arkansas this weekend?
I think the challenge is to try to get a lead and hold it and not be trying to fight your way to out of a tie or a deficit against that bullpen, because their bullpen is really good. And their closer, Dylan Volantis, is a freshman left-hander. He's 6'6", 212 pounds. And, I mean, he is electric. He will probably be a Friday night starter for them maybe next year, but, I would certainly think by his 3rd year there at Texas, he'd be a Friday night guy that everybody's talking about and all the scouts are raving about. I mean, they're already raving about him, and he's just a freshman. He is phenomenal. He's got an ERA under 1. He's got a whip under 1. He's got something like 52 strikeouts to 6 walks in 32 innings, I think, this year. Mm-hmm. And so he's been electric. You get him in the game, and, it's been lights out a lot of times. So I think that's the key with playing Texas is they have not been a team that has scored a lot this year. They've got some offensive limitations about them, but their pitching has been so good that they've been able to win a lot of close games. And in that regard, they remind me a little bit of that 21 Arkansas team that it felt like just about every time out they were winning a 1 or a 2-run game. And that's kind of been the way that it's been with Texas this season. Last week they beat A&M in 3 consecutive 1-run games. They had a game before that in San Marcos against Texas State where I think they hit a grand slam in the 9th inning to win a game 14-11. So they've been really good in the late moments, and so I think that's what's kind of set them apart. I'll say this, Bo, they haven't been challenged on the road this year. They've gone to 3 different ballparks to play teams that just aren't very good. They went to Mississippi State, and that can be hostile, but Mississippi State's not a good team this year. They went to Missouri, who's terrible. They may not win an SEC game. And they went to Kentucky, and they lost a game at Kentucky in 15 innings, but they won the series. And so I think this is going to be the first time that they're going to face both hostility and a good team on the road. And I know there are a lot of people in Texas who are really interested to see how this team handles that because they just have not seen that this year.
I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, this is just the perfect setup. If you want to go watch a game at Baum Stadium, if you only got to go to one game, go to one of these 3. They got Tennessee coming in later and all that, but you add the Texas passion, and then you add kind of what's at stake for Arkansas. They need something good to happen, and you can kind of feel like it's probably coming. This is going to be just an awesome environment. If you've never experienced Baum Stadium and you get to go one time, go this weekend. By the way, Matt, Logan Maxwell with the hamstring may not play in the field this weekend. Maybe he'll hit some. Where do they go there? How do they replace him in the lineup?
That's a great question, and I think that's one of the big keys to this series is whoever gets in the lineup, are they able to, number one, give them something at the plate, but number 2, are they a liability in the field? Because the 2 players that they've played in the outfield with him out have been Kendall Diggs and Carson Bowles. And, from a fielding perspective, I don't know that either of them have been bad, but I don't know that they've been as good as Maxwell. But both of them have had some throws into the infield this year where you just kind of look back and like, whoa, what did I just see there? And so, defensively, I think is something to watch in right field. I don't think they'll put Kahil Aloy in right field, but they did play him in right in a midweek game earlier this season. He had an error. I think that in the future they think that he's going to be a right fielder, but I don't, I would be surprised if you saw him in right in this series. But yeah, that's a huge key to this series is, number one, Logan Maxwell's a .342 hitter. And so replacing him at the plate is tough, but I think he's kind of an undervalued defender. He doesn't he doesn't make mistakes a whole lot in right field, and we've seen some mistakes whenever they've had some corner outfielders or other corner outfielders in the game.
It's Matt Jones, WholeHogSports.com. I go to the site about every day. Great job on the podcast. Always insightful. Great job covering the baseball team and more. Appreciate your work and always appreciate you hopping on with us, man. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Bo. We'll see you.
See you soon. Matt Jones. Been around a long time. Does a great job. Appreciate him. Hogs, 6 o'clock tonight, ESPN2. Carl Ravage and Kyle Peterson on the call. Kyle will be on the show tomorrow. Great college baseball analyst will join us tomorrow. It's on, again, ESPN2. Hey, the Kentucky Derby is coming up this weekend. And if you're able to, and you can get to Oaklawn, they'll be simulcasting it there. And there's not a better place to go enjoy a big event like that than at Oaklawn. It's the last weekend of live thoroughbred racing as well at Oaklawn. Visit oaklawn.com/racing for details, reservations, the Forbes recommended Oaklawn Hotel. Mother's Day is coming up. How about the Forbes four-star spa, which is unlike anything you'll find not only in our state, but surrounding states. You got to go to Chicago or Houston to find a spa on that level recommended like that. Maybe a weekend for Mother's Day. Maybe call Oaklawn and you set up a trip for some other time. Oaklawn.com has all the details. They got headline entertainment at the event center as well. I mean, that resort and that experience is something everyone should try at least once. But maybe for Mother's Day, you say, hey, let me treat you there at Oaklawn. It's 7:18. Good morning.
Chuck, you've been around a while, and look, I don't mean that ugly. And Bo, you've been around not as long as Chuck.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal Price Check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Guys, regardless of our age, feeling good is something we all want. That's what the Sweatnum Edge is all about. It's where health, confidence, and peak performance come together. We all face challenges like low energy, hair loss, who's looking at me, stubborn weight, and skin health. The good news is we can do something about it. Get your free evaluation today and see where you are. Chuck and I have both done it and are better off for it. Log on to SweatnumCosmetic.com and click on the Sweatnum Edge.
First Security is about more than great banking. Yes, we provide the financial expertise, digital tools, and everything else you need when you need it. But we also go all in on local support with friendly professionals, plus convenient locations all across the state. Because we believe personal banking is better banking. Visit fsbank.com for details. That's fsbank.com for friendly, local banking with First Security. Bank better. Member FDIC.
There's simply not a better shopping experience than Macadoodles. Looking for the best selection of beer, wine, and spirits? Macadoodles or Guess Who in Bentonville has you covered. With an unbeatable selection, amazing prices, and service that's unbeatable, they've got everything you need. Whether you're stocking up for a party, updating your bar, or just grabbing your favorites, Roger and the team are always there to help. Make the smart choice. Macadoodles, just north of Bella Vista at the state line, and Guess Who in Bentonville.
There's nothing like a college football Saturday, a few beers, your phone, and Twitter.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
had comfortable shoes before they started coming out with like On Clouds and Hokas.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting here around on our rear ends talking sports. I mean, I shouldn't, it doesn't make any sense to put on like boots, something like that. It doesn't make any sense.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Chuck's got the day off. He may be back tomorrow, maybe back Monday. When whatever he needs, man. It's okay. Like, don't rush, don't push it. But if you come in with an eye patch, that's extra credit. That's bonus material.
It's over.
Eddie's in Clarksville. Eddie, good morning. You're on the Chuck and Bo Show.
Good morning, Bo. I'm anticipating. Can you smell the recipe of bacon?
Oh.
And the recipe to get back on track starts tonight. And I'd like to tell this fan base, come hungry. Because it just matters. It just means more when you play Texas. I grew up with it. It's one of the most passionate rivalries in the entire country. And tonight, to get back on track, where I see the last three series, we lose a close game in game one. Overall, we're 8-16 against number one ranked Texas Longhorn team. Make that number 9 tonight. Like I said, I got a couple songs to get me pumped up.
Oh, here we go.
I wish I could go up there and DJ because we need to feed the Horns of Texas a big bowl of one big suey. That starts with the fan base, and for the players that send it to them. Because I believe this, and of course we believe this. It's in the moment. You either seize it or you don't. You either answer the bell or you don't. And tonight, you're going to answer the bell, baby. Because it's just a matter down playing, getting that mojo back. And what is Hog Mojo? It's your hitting. Don't forget, it's your defense. And it's your pitching. And tonight, I want you to visualize men on base. It's about the time we hit, baby. And when and that fan base, whoa, it's going to erupt. And they're coming hungry. And so you need to seize the moment and get game one. It's hard to win with the teams you're playing 2 back-to-back. And so you get game one, woo!
What have we got in this song?
The whistle is going to be blowing.
There's 3.
And I'll tell you this, number 9 win against ranked number 1 Texas because they're coming to Bomb State. This is your house, baby. Let me say this. Tonight, bring your A game. I got a couple of songs.
Okay.
How about this?
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to start off.
Waiting.
Nelly, batter up, baby.
Nelly.
Because I'm telling you, that moment's going to come at the plate. And who will answer that bell and drive in the runs? That's what it matters down to. Who will make the pitch? Who will make the play? And the defense and turn a double play. We cannot have errors and win this game. Errors are out. So you go out and play like you're capable of playing. If you do that, that whistle is going to be blowing. The next song, Lover Boy, Turn Me Loose. And the fan base is coming tonight to turn loose on the Horns of Texas. And tell you this, woo! The Eagles, take it to the limit, baby. Because you got to play to the maximum of your ability. And if you do that, we're going to meet the number 1 team in the country on a nationally televised game. Do you smell that recipe of bacon, baby?
I do. Thank you, Eddie. Eddie doesn't come with 1 song. He comes with 3. I think any of them work. But we got to have all 3. Like, take it to the limits, fine. That's plenty. You don't need, like, Turn Me Loose and Batter Up. You just need 1, right? But he's got 3. Like, he's so extra. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. But I appreciate the effort.
I do appreciate it.
I appreciate the effort.
But it's not like, hey, just come and play your best tonight. Come, play your best, then play harder, better that, and then do it again. How long do you think Eddie's been thinking about this game tonight?
All year.
He's visualizing the men on base.
You think he has any idea it's Tim McGraw's birthday? He could have thrown like a Tim McGraw song in there. Live Like You're Dying. How about that? Why don't we do that tonight? Could have done that with Tim McGraw. 877-377-6963. Thank you, Eddie. 6 o'clock ESPN2, the Hogs and
Horns.
Texas. Yeah, there it is. Right there. So take your hat off and...
It's kind of a sad song.
Well, it's meaningful. You can't smell the recipe when this song's playing?
No, I want to get pumped up.
What Tim McGraw song do you want to play? I had to pick one, Bart. It's his birthday.
Something like that.
You think it's too sad?
Yeah. Where the green grass grows. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
you know.
Well, you're late. It's too late.
Yeah, I know.
Tim McGraw's 58 today.
How about that?
Today's School Principals Day.
Yeah. Shout out to my dad. Shout out to my dad.
There you go.
Retired now, but a long-time school principal.
You know, my dad was
an
a
educator.
school principal.
Yeah.
Not as long as your dad was, but, you know, for a few years. For a few of my younger formative years.
Was he the principal at your school?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a
that was
small
the same experience I had,
church
yeah.
like school, you know, K through 12. Like there, you know, like 150 kids in the entire school kind of deal.
Okay.
Not like some, you know, high-end private school.
Well,
like this was a
okay.
small school.
Settle down.
And when I would get in trouble, you know, like, which I did frequently.
You get hit with it twice?
I might get paddled at school. I know for some of you, you're like, well, how did this guy grow? Well, you have no idea. I don't know how that works now, but how it worked then. Then you get it again when you get home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Principal
Double dip.
and dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my memories of principals aren't as fond as yours.
I typically stayed out of trouble as best I could. Not that I never got into trouble, because I did.
What do you think principals are getting today? Nobody appreciates them.
I know. And they should.
I just like hats off to the principals.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. Thank all of you,
Yeah.
men, women, the principals, that run the schools. I don't know how you do
It's
it.
a big job.
I don't know how you do it.
Big job.
You got teachers griping at you. You got parents griping at you. You got kids not doing what they're supposed to do, and you just keep showing up every day. It's like a Bud Light Real Men of Genius commercial. They just keep coming. So hats off to you guys. 877-377-6963. I want to get into some basketball stuff. Boogie, news came out yesterday that from a Florida media source that the Gators are a leader for Boogie Fland if he doesn't come back or if he doesn't stay in the draft. If he comes back to college, the Gators could be a leader for Boogie Fland. Is this true? What does this mean? I think I have some insight that I'll share with you coming up. And you can get in here with your thoughts. Text 877-377-6963, or you can call the show. By the way, I wouldn't do what I suggested earlier with that brand. Get a Yingling. Have a flight by Yingling in the hog pen this weekend. Get the resealable bottle, throw it in the cooler, take it out there, 95 calories.
Pro move.
Tastes like a Yingling. Hogs at 6 o'clock on ESPN2 tonight. But if you can go, I would go. I want to see you and Bart in the old three-legged race.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Let me just...
The Chuck and Bo Show.
If you haven't tried a flight by Yingling, you're missing out on the great taste of Yingling that is a light beer. It's the next generation of light beer. Get it on draft, in the can, the new skinny cans, and now the new 16-ounce resealable twist-off aluminum bottle. Perfect for any occasion. It's just 95 calories, and you're still enjoying a Yingling. Take your beer game to new heights with Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
Oaklawn is your hot springs escape. Enjoy plush comfort, upscale dining, and Arkansas's only Forbes 4-star rated spa at our luxury hotel. And with easy access to Hot Springs National Park and sparkling lakes, Oaklawn is your home base for everything the region has to offer. Come stay, play, and get away at Oaklawn, a Forbes Travel Guide recommended hotel. Make your reservation at oaklawn.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
When is the last time you thought, oh, the SEC's making an announcement today, and it's going to be good for the Hogs?
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Well, it was one of the great non-marriage times of my life, I'll tell you that. To meet Chuck Berry, the only thing that's even close to is meeting Bo.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Everybody get their parking spot they wanted this morning with Chuck not being here, because he's here first and takes his preferred spot. Never. Everybody gets the spot of their choice every day. Are you still parking in the Cove, like where people can't get to you?
Yeah.
That's where me and Bart post up.
I told you I would be for the foreseeable future.
We got to get your first door ding just out of the way. Why don't we
no.
go down and I'll just take care of it?
You want me to
in the next break.
I'm the only one parked next to him.
Let's not do that.
I mean, you got to just get it out of the way.
I don't want to.
And then you can live anxiety free.
No.
You don't have to worry about it anymore.
No, this is.
Are you still parking a mile from everyone else and just with your new vehicle?
You're damn right I am.
How long does that last? There comes a point. Is it a month? There comes a point in everyone's life where they no longer care as much as they did about the new thing they have.
And there will come that point.
Everyone.
Will come for me,
It doesn't matter whether you're 2 or 42.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I mean, it hasn't even been a week, for crying out loud.
So you're still basking in the glow. Like you still walk out to the driveway or you walk out of the store and you're like, that's my ride.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're still got that feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, keep it as long as you can.
Yeah. Joy. You got to have joy. You got to live with some joy.
Bart's in the Fayetteville, Chevy at Fayetteville Situation Room. You got anything situational we need to get into today? I want to tell you about the Boogie Flan situation, but what do you have?
Well, it was a baseball thing. It can wait.
Well, go ahead. No, we were all waiting.
I just, I thought Matt Jones of Whole Hog Sports made an interesting point in the first segment of the hour when we had him on. He said that this will be the first time that Texas has really faced a hostile environment and a good team. And so it's going to be a challenge for the Longhorns to see how they react being in Baum-Walker Stadium with the Razorback fans against a team that is, regardless of what's happened in the past couple of weekends, is still in second place in the league.
5 games back.
5 games back. So we'll see how Texas reacts, but I think it sets up really well for Arkansas this weekend.
Texas is different than you might think. Like you might think if you don't know much about them that they're just loaded with a bunch of talent. They've got 2 or 3 big leaguers on their team, future big leaguers. But if you read about them from the guys that cover them on a regular basis, this team's got a different attitude. Like not your typical Texas arrogance. They're like a scrappy bunch, which is kind of scary. They've come back 18 times. They've won 10 straight games. They pitch really well. And they just fight you. What's that sound like? That sounds like an Arkansas team.
Sure does.
This is going to be a battle this weekend. It's going to be fun to watch, probably fun to play in, probably nerve-wracking to coach in. But it should be a good series. And I don't know. I don't know why I just expect Arkansas to win the series. And I know if Coach Van Horn was listening, he would be like, well, thanks a lot. But, I mean, you just start to you begin to get that feeling, as a Razorback fan, when you're good or you're above average or you have a fighting chance, any of those things, you feel like you're going to beat Texas.
Right.
Every time you go into the game, you just feel like it's what happens. Doesn't always happen that way.
Right.
But that's just kind of how you feel. Like, we're going to get ours against these guys. It's just part of what happens. Arkansas beats Texas a fair amount. And oftentimes you're a prohibitive underdog. But in this case, you're just as good as they are.
Yeah.
Haven't necessarily played that way, but are just as good as they are. It's also been interesting if you look at the baseball season, how we just dive in and out of who the best teams in the country are. We start the season with A&M. Then it's Arkansas for a while. Maybe Tennessee was going to be the best team. Now it's Texas. Is Texas still going to be thought of as the best team in college baseball by the time we get to the postseason? By the way, I don't really care anything about winning the league. Like, that's nice. But baseball seasons are judged on getting to Omaha. And whatever Arkansas needs to do to try to, not like, you don't win games in the process, but whatever they've got to do to kind of figure that out, I think is what obviously anybody wants. But this isn't like, to me, like, oh, they got to win these games to stay in the hunt to win the league. They win these games to get kind of your mojo back a little bit.
Get better.
Get back to where you're feeling good about yourself. 877-377-6963. That's the number. You can call, text, whatever you want to do. I saw by the way, that's the Chevy of Fayetteville Situation Room where we found Bart there. Beat inflation and upgrade your ride at Chevy of Fayetteville right now. You can drive home in a brand new Chevy Silverado, Blazer, Equinox EV. Rates as low as 1.9 APR, plus take advantage of huge discounts and get top dollar for your trade-in. They're doing deals right now, is what they're doing at the Fayetteville Auto Park. So if you're in the market, like now's a great time to go to the Fayetteville Auto Park. Walk into Chevy at Fayetteville, throw down some Texas talk with Mark and Chris and Denver, and chop it up a little bit and walk away right away in a new ride. Chevy at Fayetteville, let's ride. All right, so I saw this story yesterday from a media outlet in Gainesville covering the Gators, that they were one of the favorites to land Boogie Fland in the transfer portal if he doesn't stay in the draft. So I did some digging around, talked to some people, and I was surprised to hear what I'm about to tell you. I believe that Boogie Fland, who, by the way, entered the transfer portal with a no contact tag. Do not contact me. I'm in the portal, but don't contact me. That's not a thing. Just FYI. Like, you're getting contacted. People are contacting him in the league, in the SEC, including Florida. What if I told you that Boogie Fland, if he doesn't stay in the draft, could end up getting $5, $6, maybe $7 million to play somewhere else?
Good for him.
Right. If you're Arkansas, is that what you say?
I think that's what you have to
say. Do you say, hey, man, good for you. We love you. You're still family. Go get your money. This is the current climate. Now, look, when rev share happens and all that, I don't think the NIL money's going away. I don't think it's going to be quite as crazy as it is now. We talked a little bit about, do you hold somebody to their buyout? Different conversation, okay? Do you hold somebody to their buyout? Do you hold their feet to the fire? Do you take them to court? What does that look like? Okay, now let's go over here. You have a player. Somebody else wants him. But you got to pay 4 times more than you paid last year to have him. Is it a good, do you just do it or not? I want to get into that next on the Chuck and Bo Show. It's 7:46. Good morning.
Do you think Kim Mulkey could operate a jackhammer?
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
I'm Dr. Scotty Bolding, a native Arkansan oral and maxillofacial surgeon. One of my goals is to make Arkansans healthier.
If you have sleep disorder breathing, it's important to treat it properly. The standard treatment's a breathing machine called CPAP. It helps you breathe during the night. However, there are other options thanks to some truly innovative and proven technologies.
Sleep is probably God's gift of medicine that we really don't utilize enough. If you have obstructive sleep apnea, it needs to be treated. So you need to be wearing your CPAP. So if you're not wearing your CPAP, CPAP, there are some potential surgical solutions that can help you that actually work today by correcting the jaw deformities that may be causing this obstructive sleep apnea is where we focus.
Dr. Bolding at Precedent Center for Facial and Dental Medicine works carefully with your sleep physician, determines where the underlying obstruction may be, and provides surgical solutions that open the airway, allowing you to breathe better.
Hey, give us a call, 479-755-3000, or log on to our website, precedent.com, Precedent. We'd love to help.
We care a lot about supporting Arkansas businesses here on the Chuck and Bo Show, and we both like keeping our rides looking good. Splash Car Wash just became our new neighbors here in Fayetteville. They're a locally owned Arkansas business, and they've been serving the state since 1989. They're good folks, and you can get a free car wash by texting Splash Arkansas to 22322. That's Splash Arkansas to 22322.
Hey, it's Bo Mattingly, and McDonald Eye Associates is my one-stop for any vision need. The progressives they have me in are a game changer, and my new sunglasses are going to be great for baseball season. McDonald Eye was the first practice in the state to perform LASIK, and they have the most experience. They also have the new vision correction options for all ages, including cataract and clear lens replacement to see your best from all distances. For your best vision, McDonald Eye is the place to go.
Arkansas's one-stop automotive shop is right around the corner. Fayetteville Auto Park. FayettevilleAutoPark.com. Chevy, Toyota, Honda, Acura, Collision Center, all in one place. And if you're shopping pre-owned, Fayetteville Auto Park has you covered. With so many new cars sold, we always have a great selection of fresh trades. Why settle for anything less than the best? Fayetteville Auto Park, West Showroom Drive in Fayetteville. Proud sponsor of the Chuck and Bo Show.
Yeah, does Chuck sleep that much? Because it just sometimes.
He's old, so when you get old, you don't really sleep as much.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
A lot of times critics don't know what the hell they're talking about, and I don't think they know much what they're talking about on this one either.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Last year, all we heard was Arkansas had one of the highest paid rosters in the country. This year, they're not going to have a top 2 or 3 or 4 paid roster, I don't think, in the country. And here's what I think has happened. I think some coaches have taken the lazy way out. I think you have really good recruiters. Like if you strip away NIL and you go back to the history of college basketball, has John Calipari been a great recruiter? Absolutely. 100%. The best every year. Maybe he's got a number 2 class, but it's like, is he going to be number 1, number 2? He's going to recruit. He's going to have great recruiting classes. Bring all the money in now. Arkansas had NIL money. It was part of the equation, but I remember sitting down with Cal and him talking about it not being a deciding factor on getting players here. We'll play the NIL game to a certain level, but if you want to make the most money that you've ever made in your life in college, we might not be for you. Because what we're trying to do is get guys second and third contracts and billions of dollars like we've done all of these other guys in the NBA. Life-changing, generational-changing wealth. Not let's make a couple $1 million in college. And that's great money, and it can be life-changing for sure. But if that's the game, then maybe we're not for you. Right now, I think some coaches in college basketball, and Kentucky might be on this list if it's true that they already got $20 million into their roster. They're getting players just on money. Now, at the end of the day, maybe that works. Maybe you have a good enough roster because you bought all the players and you're good enough, and that's how it goes. But I don't think that's the game Arkansas is playing. I think Boogie Flan's going to get offered like $5 to $7 million to go somewhere else if he doesn't stay in the draft. And if you're him, you've got to decide if staying in the draft is worth it. And he's not the only one. There's a lot of those guys. But if Boogie Flan, Carter Knox, and Adu Thiero all come back to Arkansas, they have arguably the best roster in the country. If Boogie Flan doesn't come back, they still got a really, really good roster. If Thiero doesn't come back, they still have a really good roster. If Carter Knox doesn't come back, not as good, but still good. Depending on what these three guys do, we'll see Arkansas react in the transfer portal. But I don't believe if you're Cal, you can pay Boogie Flan $5 to $7 million if these numbers are accurate, and I believe they are.
No chance.
To stay here. Nor do you be upset at him for going somewhere else. But you've got to manage your roster. And that's not just like an infinite amount of money and I just got to go buy all these guys. Like, you got to then up everybody else if you pay him that. And like, where does it end? It takes one school to create a market value for a player. And if you're the player, you only need one. And some of that, a lot of that is still going on right now, like guys making decisions. So we still don't know exactly what Arkansas's roster is going to look like, but I don't believe, and I could be wrong, who knows what's in Boogie's heart and mind, but I don't believe that if Boogie withdraws his name from the draft, that he'll end up at Arkansas because somebody's going to pay him an insane amount of money. And maybe it might be Florida. Almost 8 o'clock. Solo today. Chuck's off. Glad you're here on the Chuck and Bo Show. It's Thursday. Good morning.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, if you're struggling to get your Social Security disability, or you're buried in debt thinking about bankruptcy, don't wait. You need a legal team that knows how to fight for Arkansans.
That's why you can trust Cadell Reynolds. Bill Reynolds and his team know how to get results when it matters most. Whether it's personal injury, disability, or bankruptcy, they've got the experience and they've got your back.
So don't go it alone. Make the right call. Dial 866-314-3728 or visit CadellReynolds.com today.
Oaklawn is your hot springs escape. Enjoy plush comfort, upscale dining, and Arkansas's only Forbes 4-star rated spa at our luxury hotel. And with easy access to Hot Springs National Park and sparkling lakes, Oaklawn is your home base for everything the region has to offer. Come stay, play, and get away at Oaklawn, a Forbes Travel Guide recommended hotel. Make your reservation at oaklawn.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
The doors are open, and it's a new era of elegance. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry has unveiled its stunningly redesigned 8,500 square foot showroom for an unmatched luxury experience. There's breathtaking jewelry, of course, expert service, and private viewing rooms designed for comfort. And they've got an in-house cafe with handcrafted coffee to go along with a special coffee table book celebrating Arkansas's heritage. Because it's more than jewelry, it's your story at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry.
Hey, you can beat inflation and upgrade your ride at Chevy of Fayetteville. Right now, drive home a brand new Chevy Silverado, Blazer, Equinox EV, or the Tough 2500 with rates as low as 1.9% APR. Plus, take advantage of huge discounts and get top dollar for your trade-in. Go see Chris, Mark, and Denver at Chevy of Fayetteville, where the deals are big and the road ahead is even better. Chevy of Fayetteville. Let's drive.
Why don't you just kind of style it up a little bit at the game? Let's get your drip going.
Hey, I got a lot more drip than you think.
The Chuck and Bo Show. Previously heard on Chuck and Bo.
No, I did not get anything done after the game yesterday.
Well, that's perfect then. That's perfect for you.
It wasn't bad.
I don't do well with that. Like when it's nice outside, it's hard to kind of be too relaxing inside, especially this time of year. I got to get outside.
I could not live.
I had to get outside.
I could not live.
Well, thankfully you don't have to. You're not the only one that feels that way.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I would resist the urge to drink this morning.
Stop. I'm done.
You said a lot of good things there.
Well, I don't know if I said one good thing.
I met a guy last night. Love y'all to death, Jeff.
You mind if I share?
I'm looking forward to it.
The show of record for Razorback fans.
I'm in my Sunday school, and first thing he says when we hop in the car, he says, "What's heard on the Chuck and Bo Show?"
It's too early for this kind of conversation. I'm still half asleep.
Here are your hosts, Chuck Barrett and Bo Mattingly.
Bart's heated. I didn't know that this could happen without Chuck being here. Chuck, if you've been taking a little behind the scenes, Chuck's off today, and probably back tomorrow. If not, he'll be back on Monday.
He should be under the knife right now as we speak.
What? That's a HIPAA violation. I decided after, just
I'm not a doctor.
Laying Chuck's entire procedure.
Look on the bright side
out
with
there
that
in the 6 o'clock hour that maybe I should just leave some of it to wander. Let the mind just sort of go where it will go. But yeah, Chuck's out today. Anyhow, as I was normally, Chuck would be in here just sort of poking at Bart to have Bart just go off about something.
He would say
during the break.
Say it just like that.
He'd be
Bart.
like,
Say
just
like that.
lead with that it's say it like that. Like it's like you just said it. It's Greg Sankey's fault. Start with that, and then we'll go from there. And so Chuck's in there just, and by the time we get back from a break, Bart is whipped into a frenzy. And Chuck he just leans back from the microphone, and he just smiles. Yeah. He just admires
like
his
a
work.
proud mentor.
Yeah, he just admires the work he has just put in, which is to get Bart fired up. So I was just talking about Boogie Flan.
Yeah.
Boogie Flan could command, and that Seth and Rogers is kind enough to tell me Boogie's not going to get that kind of money. You're right, Seth. I just made it up. I don't have any insight, didn't talk to anybody in college basketball, have no knowledge. And I thought, today, I'm going to say that Boogie Flan might get $5 million to go somewhere else because I thought it'd be fun. I'm not making these numbers. I don't have any clue. What I do is I talk to people in college basketball when I want to know something. Like I saw this yesterday, and I know people would want to know if Boogie's coming back from the NBA. Like if he's not going to stay in the draft, why would he go somewhere else? So I started asking around, and it turns out there is a market. Maybe he doesn't get, maybe it ends up being 4. But somewhere but $4, $5, $6, $7 million. And I'm looking at Florida. I think Florida will end up, if Boogie decides to stay in the portal, doesn't come back to Arkansas, doesn't stay in the draft, could get $4, $5, $6, $7 million. And I know that's a big difference between 4 and 7, but any of that's a ton. I mean, Edward, you told me in the break, in perspective, you'd have to be like a top 8 draft pick.
That's right. There's slots given to each draft pick, and the 8th pick in the draft makes $5.2 million their rookie year.
Salary?
Yes.
And they have like a guaranteed number on their contract. I haven't looked at this in a while.
There's a rookie scale.
Yeah.
They can make up to 20% more or less than what the scale is, but it's about $5 million for the 8th overall pick.
But basically, Boogie could make more money in college basketball next year than any lottery pick or than anybody outside the lottery.
Well,
in the NBA draft.
I'm going to tell you right now, and there are guys that wouldn't even get drafted this year that are making $2.5–3 million at other schools. And the approach is not the same by every school. I mean, if it's true that Kentucky has put $20 million into their roster already, my question is, can you really not get anybody without paying that much? Because not everybody's doing that. And Arkansas is not doing that. I mean, at what level does this become completely
It's ludicrous. It already is ludicrous.
I don't know. You call it irresponsible?
It's fiscally irresponsible. That's exactly what it is.
Okay, so how do we determine what's fiscally irresponsible in a capitalistic society where whatever you can get, you get?
Well, yeah, well, right. I don't blame the players at all. Like, I would not blame Boogie at all. If he has an opportunity to go make $5, $6, $7 million, $4 million playing college basketball, good for him. Right? Like nobody's blaming Boogie for that. And if you are, you're just stupid. Like, because you would take that. Like, you would take that. But it's fiscally and financially irresponsible. Like, and making more money, college kids making more money than professional athletes is the most ridiculous thing. Like, that is it's so beyond ridiculous. I'm not even sure there's a word for it. And this system is so broken and that it's gotten to this point. Like, think about this. If you're a fan of a school or a team or whatever, you're a Razorback fan, and you hear and you donate to the NIL fund or whatever, and then you see that your NIL dollars are going to pay like a $4 million salary for one player. Like, I'd be pissed. I mean, that player better be the second coming of Michael Jordan, right? Like, otherwise, it's completely irresponsible. You're spending other people's money irresponsibly.
So here's
right?
This is one of the issues that we have. Okay?
And so, like, I don't blame you if you don't want to give your money. Right?
Just for fun, let's talk. I don't know how much fun this is, but just for fun, let's talk about this. When you're in professional sports, and Chuck was making this point in our group chat yesterday, you are spending your own money. You own the team. It's your money. It's your budget to manage. It's whether you are going to have a return on your investment, whether you're going to be profitable, whether you're going to take a loss, all that stuff. It's your money. In college athletics, and this is the disconnect with the fans and why fans are so upset, is you're spending their money. Like, if you want to be a fan of the Cleveland Browns, you're spending your money on tickets, but like the success of the organization in terms of total dollars, by and large, does not come down to you. You just decide whether
they're not taking donations.
They're spending their own money.
It's a business.
It's a business. And I continue to say, like, we don't have a business. We have, like, this is a shell company, and it's not. It's completely jacked. And people are mad because they're being asked to pay for it. And it's like, who's making the money?
Right.
Well, the people that are involved, like, athletic directors, administrators, coaches, players, they're making the money.
Yeah.
And you keep being asked to pay for it. And you don't have any control
You're being
on how
asked
it's
to foot
spent.
somebody else's bill.
You don't know how it's spent necessarily in most cases. You don't know who's really getting what. And it's frustrating as a fan to be in that position because you don't just get to be a fan. You're asked to be an investor. And what are you getting back for your investment? You don't even know. And there is no money back to you. That's not happening. I mean, it's just so backwards from anything else that we do. It makes no sense.
We talk about things being too big to fail. And for a long time, I thought college athletics, and in particular college football, was too big to fail. I don't feel that way anymore. Because there is a bubble. Like, this current system is not sustainable. You cannot rely on fans' money, fan dollars, fan donations to sustain a successful athletic program and to pay these players. Like, it doesn't work. And the fact that we're even in this spot is completely ridiculous. The leadership of college
whose
athletics.
fault is it, Bart? Tell us whose fault
It's the adults in the room.
Blame someone.
It's the adults in the room. It's the leadership at colleges and universities across the country. People like to make fun of the NCAA and say, the NCAA is this or that or whatever. Shame on the NCAA, whatever. The NCAA is the schools. Like, it is the member institutions. They're the ones who make the rules. The chancellors, the presidents, the ADs, they're the ones who make the rules. And they have just passed the buck for so long and just pushed the issue down the road for so long that federal courts got involved. And once that happened, it threw everything into chaos. And now there's this whole rev share thing, and it's only because their hands are being forced. Like, come up with a solution. Come up with a plan to make this a sustainable business, because that's what this is. Instead of just trying to Band-Aid it together with all this stuff that you're being forced to do, come up with a system and a plan. This has been going on for years now. Ever since the Ed O'Bannon case.
Bart's going to be out in the parking lot at 9:05 today. If you guys want to have a huddle on this, get a tent, get a huddle. We got sunshine. We have breaking news. Sunshine's out. We've seen the sun.
Yes, the sun is out.
We've seen the sun.
Blue skies.
I'm tired of talking about this.
It's kind of cloudy,
but it is what it is, and that's like we've been saying the same thing. But I do think it's fascinating that you can have one team that wants to pay a whole lot of money. And it changes the dynamic. And I think there's a lot of lazy people out there that are just using money to buy players. Will it work? Will it pay off? We'll see. I think Arkansas's basketball roster is going to be just fine. They'll be good. How good? They could be one of the most talented teams, like top 3 or 4 teams in the country. Or they might not quite be that. But at the end of the day, how your team comes together, how they play and all that stuff, Arkansas is going to be right there in the mix. Are you laughing at a texter?
I am laughing
at
a texter. Sean and Rogers said, you all would sound more professional if you would stop overusing the word like. It is exhausting.
Yeah.
Well,
Sean,
Sean,
it's an epidemic.
He's exhausted.
It's an epidemic.
Like.
It's an epidemic.
Like.
I wonder how he does in his job. What? Send us all the things that you've achieved.
Anyway, that text made me laugh.
Well, I mean, it's like the troll now and Rogers. Boogie's not going to get that. And then I said, well, I hear that he is. Well, I'm sorry you were given bad information. Well, I'm sorry you don't have a show. Like, why don't you start your own coffee club? 877-377-6963. What to watch? What's you got something? What to watch brought to you by Macadoodles. Tonight, we got the Hogs on TV.
Hogs on TV, 6 o'clock, ESPN 2, the baseball team, Carl Ravitch, Kyle Peterson, who will be on the show tomorrow on the call. Softball team also plays at 6 against 10th-ranked LSU. That's on the SEC Network Plus.
All right, so you got to stream that.
Stream that.
But the first 2 games of baseball are on television.
That's right. Yep.
What's going on in the NBA playoffs? What
well,
are we watching there?
LeBron and Luka are out.
It's done.
They got beat by the Timberwolves.
They're out.
They lost the series 4-1. I mean, so it really wasn't close. But
that didn't work out.
Yeah, sure did.
That didn't work. Is Nico right in Dallas? Does he get some retribution?
I don't know that he's right because of like the actual trade itself. But anyway, Knicks and Pistons. Chuck will be watching that tonight if he can. Game 6 of that series.
If all goes well.
Nuggets and Clippers.
Eye patch on.
Nuggets and Clippers also tonight. Those games on TNT.
Jeez. Wow. What to watch brought to you by Macadoodles. You'll find
it like that.
Macadoodles just north of the state line.
If he's still with us.
Just north of Bella Vista. Or Guess Who in Bentonville for the best assortment of beer, wine, and spirits with a level of service that is unmatched. Customer service is incredible. They'll walk you around and help you find whatever you're looking for, help you put a special recipe or cocktail together. They've got wine tasting every day, 7 days a week, open to close. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they've got a tasting bar to try different spirits. Macadoodles is just an experience unlike any other. Again, just north of Bella Vista or at Guess Who in Bentonville. And don't forget, Wednesdays, yesterday was Wednesday, 15% off every bottle of wine in the store. So if you're looking for a wine purchase, you want to try something new, you got something special coming up, plan on a Wednesday to go to Macadoodles for that 15% off Wine Down Wednesday discount. But they've always got lots of bottles of wine on sale and a great selection, so you don't have to wait. But just be aware that is on Wednesdays, 15% off. It's 8:17. It's the Chuck and Bo Show. It's Thursday. Happy. Good morning. When you went into the Hall of Fame, I think it was at a Western Sizzler.
I think it was. It was at a motel. It wasn't a hotel. It was a motel.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
If you're having issues with your gutters or drainage around the house, you need to call Hog Trough Gutters. They're locally owned and operated with over 30 years of experience. Seamless gutters made on site, trenching and French drains. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, and every job comes with a 20-year guarantee. Hog Trough Gutters services all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Log on to their website, hoggutters.com, to find out more. That's hog, GUTTERS.com.
First Security is about more than great banking. Yes, we provide the financial expertise, digital tools, and everything else you need when you need it. But we also go all in on local support with friendly professionals, plus convenient locations all across the state. Because we believe personal banking is better banking. Visit fsbank.com for details. That's fsbank.com for friendly, local banking with First Security. Bank better. Member FDIC.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicher Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicher Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal Price Check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
You know, I want Texas to lose. Yeah, I want them to rot in hell.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Great point, Bo.
Thank you.
I'm Chuck. It's the Chuck and Bo Show. I'm going to start taking credit. Like when you make a great point, I'm going to call myself
All
Chuck.
right, fair enough.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I am Chuck. Bo is off today. He's out. I'm Chuck. People do get. You think people know, but they get confused sometimes. I just kind of go around town, sometimes misbehaving, and I introduce myself as Chuck. I'll get into it with somebody, and I'll be like, "Hey, Chuck Barrett." Yeah.
Are you going to start introducing yourself as?
Send me a note, and then I'll give him Chuck's phone number. He text me.
Clay Henry's son.
No. No, that's a one and done thing. That was I thought it was humorous. I can't.
It was.
I can't. That happened. I can't get into that. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not going there. Did spend some nice time with Clay over the weekend. We played a little golf together at the Big Creek Country Club in Mountain Home.
Hang on.
Beautiful.
That reminds me of a Clay text sent me. Or a text Clay sent me.
Clay's got a direct line to the show. 877-377-6963. By the way, we're going to go to the phones here, take some calls. If you want to jump in, you're welcome to hop in. What was Clay's text?
He was talking to me about the golf outing. And he said he hit last each hole because he played the forward tees.
Yeah.
And then he said many times we did not have a ball in play.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a few of those.
Just taking a shot at you, Bo.
Well, yeah. I mean, shots can be taken. Yeah. I didn't play particularly well, but I did hit some good shots. But, Clay was hitting 60 yards ahead of us, Yeah. And so when I would hit a good shot, then he would hit one in play. What he didn't tell you is when I didn't hit one in play, neither would he. At times. So it's like I have to do good so you can do better.
The truth comes out.
You know what I mean? I got to do good so you can do better.
Yeah.
We had a good time. William in Lafayette, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing today?
Hey, doing great.
So, I need a little help on some stuff, right? So,
we all do. Yeah, we all do. Fair enough.
So, college athletics, as it's played today, is not the game that we grew up watching. Right? It's a business. And is it fair to say, Bo, that if the NFL owners, NBA owners, Major League Baseball owners did not have to pay their players, right, or had to pay them comparable just for like college living expenses, would they be making a significant amount of more money on their professional franchises? Because I think that is exactly what college athletics has done and exploited the athlete to some degree. And I think every one of us has said, or you guys have said, the athletes need to get paid. But is it cutting into profit margin, or is it cutting into revenue that's being pulled out of that athletic department in that university that potentially could shut down curriculum or buildings? Like, what really is being taken by the revenue share? And all of this started, right, with O'Banion. But the catalyst was when these large TV contracts for the SEC, the Big Ten, all of it started being publicized. And the money that was being given to these universities essentially on the backs of these players, and they weren't getting anything. Now, you look at the NFL and collective bargaining, they get some of that. And I think that really needs to be discussed. What is being taken out of these coffers of these athletic departments or these universities now by this revenue share? Because it seems like it's like, oh, we want to keep our profit margin. We got to pay players now.
There's no profit.
There
is no profit margin. That's the first issue. Like college athletics is not set up. It's not a for-profit business. Like you spend everything you have, and you raise whatever you need to raise to spend that much money. You get some rev share.
That university's not making money?
This is not the university. It's the athletic department.
The athletic department doesn't facilitate the university making money?
Gets nothing. Arkansas gets nothing from the University of Arkansas. They as an athletic department. They raise all their own money.
So Bo, where does that SEC TV money go?
It goes to the athletic department.
And where does that go from the athletic
fund
department?
19 sports.
Okay.
And all the facilities.
Most of which lose money.
So, Bo, before that revenue went up for this larger TV deal, including Texas and Oklahoma, how are we funding those 19 sports?
Don't
have tell me they're not making money some way.
I'm not saying they're not. You're mixing and matching. Like this is not a for-profit business. I'm not against paying the players. I don't know what like you're trying to take a side or something that you think I'm not on. Like the business is not run like a business. Like in the NFL, you have all the money going into your team. Like all the money, one team. You're the owner. You decide who you want to pay what and where. College athletics started off being like a not-for-profit thing. Then we started paying coaches crazy amounts of money. Then we got bigger TV contracts, so we got more money. You couldn't pay the players, so then we started building nicer facilities. So then you give the players an attractive place to come. Then we started paying players, but the problem with paying players is, unlike any other business, it's just complete capitalistic free agency. So anybody can leave anytime for whatever amount of money, but where's the money coming from? Like in any business, you sell X number of cheeseburgers, you cover your rent, you sell more cheeseburgers, you got to become more profitable, then you can hire more people. But where's the money coming from? It's coming from selling cheeseburgers. In college athletics, where's the money coming from? Because you're not going to continue to have bigger and bigger TV deals. That's not going to be enough. It comes from the fans. It comes from you being a multimillionaire going, sure, I'll give you $5 million more this year because we got to go get a point guard.
I disagree. I think they want that.
What is there to disagree about? What do you mean?
So you're telling me the University of Arkansas is not a business, and they are not out at the end of the year to show a gain some way financially. If they weren't, right, they wouldn't be open. Don't tell me the impact Nick Saban had on Alabama with raising tuition, the level of students that increased them there, that football and that football program didn't impact that university making money. It happens all over the place. Look at the 30 for 30 they did on Miami when they talk about, oh, my God, we were nothing in football. And then look at all these buildings that were built around this campus that never took place until this football program kicked off. Don't tell me that football, basketball, athletics doesn't fund buildings, expansion, higher cost of tuition at universities. You're mixing and matching. It is a business, and those kids deserve to get paid. And those ADs need to figure out a way to do it because they're keeping everything and not paying the players.
How would you how would you do it? How would you do it?
How would I do it?
Yeah, you're the AD. How would you do it?
So I'm not in the AD realm. I really don't know the scope, right? But I would look at the budget. I would look at what I'm getting from these TV deals. I mean, I think they're going to be forced to have to pay the players. There has to be some. I mean, even in the NFL, in every sport, I don't think baseball, but in the NFL, there has to be some sort of, okay, this is your cap. That has to be done, right? But the days of signing these TV deals, right, every Saturday people sit in front of their TVs, advertising sold those cheeseburgers you're talking about, but they pay to be shown on the commercials for those football games, right, so people will go buy more of them. That's where the TV dollars is coming from. You have to give some of that back to the players. You have to.
That's your plan. Okay, got it.
My plan. So
that made a lot of sense.
Is your plan to keep all that money and not pay the players?
Dude, I don't even know like what planet you're on. Like exactly what you said we've been talking about for weeks is what everybody's talking about. Like how to do it. They're not set up to be a professional business.
That it's not a business. It's a non-for-profit.
It's not.
But that's insane. That's insane to say that.
I didn't make it up. Like that's how universities are set up. I'm not saying that money's not coming in and going out.
That's how universities are set up so they can operate to get those funds and then do what they want to with them without having to pay the players.
They have to pay the players. Dude, they have to pay the players. That's what's happening right now. The problem is they don't have a good system set up like a real business to do it. We've exhausted this. And I just have to say, I must be doing a really lousy job of explaining this. So I'll take the blame. But mercy sakes, you have no idea, none, what you're talking about. We're a little bit over our head
Well,
here,
I
but
know.
we're doing the best we can. We're doing the best we can.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
We care a lot about supporting Arkansas businesses here on the Chuck and Bo Show, and we both like keeping our rides looking good. Splash Car Wash just became our new neighbors here in Fayetteville. They're a locally owned Arkansas business, and they've been serving the state since 1989. They're good folks, and you can get a free car wash by texting Splash Arkansas to 22322. That's Splash Arkansas to 22322.
There's no better shopping experience than you're going to find at Macadoodles or at Guess Who in Bentonville. And every Wednesday is Wine Down Wednesday. 15% off every bottle of wine in the store, even if it's already on sale. But when it comes to selection, amazing prices, and unbeatable customer service, Macadoodles and Guess Who in Bentonville is second to none. Wine, beer, and spirits. Stock up for your next party or just stop by and grab your favorite. Macadoodles, just north of Bella Vista, and Guess Who in Bentonville.
There's nothing we enjoy saying more than I told you so.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I don't know much about new items, really. I mean, I go to the store. I see lots of things that baffle me.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I might get back to this here in a minute. Chuck's out today. I think that last caller is an example of not many people, but some people that like just don't understand. And they think the university's like trying to get over on them. And I continue to be amazed by that idea because I'm not sure how you arrived there. But, kind of maybe trying to gain some understanding of what's really happening is a step in the right direction. Zach Gillum's joining us, Oaklawn Sports, the director of betting at Oaklawn Sports. We got the Kentucky Derby coming up this weekend. We'll get into that in a second. Zach, good morning. Happy Thursday.
Yeah, good morning. How we doing over there?
Doing great. We got a big weekend series, Texas and Arkansas in baseball Thursday, Friday, Saturday. What kind of action we got at Oaklawn on Arkansas-Texas baseball?
Yeah, so looking at this opening game on the board right now, Arkansas a minus 177 favorite over Texas. Texas at 135. That is a plus 135.
So Arkansas is the favorite in game one?
Yes, Arkansas is the favorite in game one. That actually posted last night, so got that on the board pretty early, and the line hasn't moved too much. It is really kind of stuck right around that minus 180.
Does home field advantage play in these baseball games as far as the line?
It definitely does. Just like with any sport, I mean, baseball is no unique one. I mean, when it comes to home field advantage, there's definitely some factor into there.
And odds to win the College World Series, where's Arkansas currently sitting among those teams?
Yeah, so they have drifted back just a bit. They are now 5-1. Texas has taken over that number one spot. They are plus 400. Tennessee's at plus 600. LSU at plus 800. So 4 SEC teams, really 5. Georgia is right there behind them at 15-1. So the top 5, based on the odds, all from the SEC.
So Arkansas is still right there among the favorites, even though the last 3 weekends haven't necessarily gone their way. It'll be interesting to see. I think this is a little bit of a pivotal weekend in kind of how we feel and how maybe they feel about the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at it, I mean, I know not in the national rankings, but on the odds boards, at least here at Oaklawn, these are the number 1, number 2 teams. So this is going to be something everybody's going to be paying attention to. And to your point, after the last few weeks, it'd be nice to get a home series win, especially against the number 1 team.
Now, at least in one poll, the Arkansas women's softball team is number 2 in the country. What kind of odds are you getting right now if you wanted to take a shot on Courtney Deifel and her women's softball team to go to Oklahoma City, win the Women's College World Series? What kind of odds can you get on that?
Yeah, those have dropped quite a bit over the last week or two. So that was 25-1, I believe, even as recent as last Thursday. But now they are down to 15-1. So Lady Razorbacks 15-1 to win it all. Your favorite's still Oklahoma. They're plus 150. Texas is at plus 250, and Florida at 6-1. A&M at 7-1. So a few teams there that Arkansas did get series wins against.
Golly. Yeah, it doesn't matter where you go. Like, it's just SEC school after SEC school after SEC school. That's the odd. Like, and what do you have on horseshoes? I mean, like, is there a sport that the SEC doesn't have like 5 of the top 8 odds to win it all? I mean, it's just
I think the only one I saw was the NCAA hockey, and that's because I don't think many teams really compete in that.
You found it. That's the one. Zach Gillum's with us, the director of sports betting at Oaklawn Sports. All right, Zach, we got the Kentucky Derby this weekend. What can you tell us?
Yeah, it's going to be a wonderful weekend. I mean, we still have live racing here at Oaklawn as well, so don't forget live racing today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Some great racing cards put together, a lot of fun stuff going on. Saturday, infield, weather permitting, you're going to have the Craft Beer Festival. We're going to have Wine Play Show, which is going to be a wine tasting. The Clydesdales are going to be on track, which is a lot of fun. If you've never seen a Clydesdale in person, they are gentle giants, but they are giants. They are very, very big. And then we have the State Bago Championship in the infield as well. So a lot going on around the racing, around the property at Oaklawn. But as you mentioned, Kentucky Derby is also this weekend. And there are at least 5 runners as of now in the field that ran at Oaklawn during this meet. You have American Promise, who won a maiden race. You have Publisher, finished 2nd in Arkansas Derby, 4th in the Rebel. Pistastic, who ran third in the Southwest, fifth in the Rebel. Cole Battle, who's kind of a local favorite. He ran first in the Rebel, third in the Arkansas Derby, and he also won the Smarty Jones. And then Sandman, who won the Arkansas Derby. So there are 5 really promising runners in the field. Looks like it's going to be a great contest. Again, just cross the fingers if we get a dry day and everybody gets across the finish line safely.
One of the great moments in sports, the Kentucky Derby coming this weekend. Watch it at Oaklawn if you're in the Hot Springs area or can get there and enjoy the weekend. What's the best way to bet on the Derby if you're in Arkansas and you want to get a wager on the Derby?
Yeah, the best way is Oaklawn Anywhere. So that is going to be the pari-mutuel or the horse racing wagering app that Oaklawn provides the Arkansans, and it is wonderful. It's been around for quite some time. It is near a 5-star rated app. It's very easy to use. Once you get signed up, you're going to see not just the Kentucky Derby, but you're going to see all the tracks available, even from around the world. Oaklawn's obviously on there. And if you really want to start doing your homework early, they do have advanced wagering on the Oaks card, which is tomorrow, and the advanced wagering on the Derby card, which is Saturday.
I know my way around that Oaklawn Anywhere app. I'll tell you that right now, Zach. Hey, great stuff. Yeah. Great to have you on. Thanks for the insight. We'll do it again next week. Appreciate you and your time.
Yeah, absolutely. And new users, if you do not have Oaklawn Anywhere, $150 sign-up bonus right now. Oaklawn Sports, $1,000 in bonus bet. So new users, if you have not dove in, this is a good week to do so. If you have any issues, we have a great team here on site or our customer service team.
Yeah, it's a great word on both of those apps. Oaklawn Anywhere. If you haven't been in the horse racing fun yet or lately, don't forget about Oaklawn Anywhere. I mean, some people, like, it's an annual thing, maybe 3 times for the Triple Crown races. Oaklawn Anywhere is great, but Bart's over there nodding his head. Like, he's probably got it already all slotted out.
Nah, well, I still have some homework to do.
You going to give us some locks tomorrow for the Derby?
Well, there's no such thing as a lock in horse
racing. Well, there's no such thing as a lock in March Madness, but that didn't stop you.
I think we need some
we'll see.
pony picks.
We need some pony picks tomorrow.
We'll get something together.
Oaklawn Sports, new customers earn up to $1,000 in bonus bets, $150 for a new customer at Oaklawn Anywhere. But Arkansas's best sports betting app is Oaklawn Sports. Bet with the brand you trust. Bet with Oaklawn Sports. Our thanks to Zach Gillum. Let's squeeze a call in here. Hiram, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show from Tawnytown. Good morning, Hiram.
Good morning. You were talking about earlier about where the money comes from, and I use a little bit of common sense. It's not complicated. We, the fans, have made gods of the players and the teams, and the money comes from the fans. And we have an addiction, and we're hooked. Maybe we need a Doge investigation, do a forensic overhaul, and see where the money's going. But the money comes from the fans.
It does.
So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. You know, the thing about doing this show is anybody can listen at any time, anywhere, at any moment, and respond and engage. 877-377-6963. The only thing that hasn't happened so far on today's show is we haven't sold a lawnmower, but I'm open to it.
Chuck, you've been around a while, and look, I don't mean that ugly, and Bo, you've been around not as long as Chuck.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, if you're struggling to get your Social Security disability, or you're buried in debt thinking about bankruptcy, don't wait. You need a legal team that knows how to fight for Arkansans.
That's why you can trust Cadell Reynolds. Bill Reynolds and his team know how to get results when it matters most. Whether it's personal injury, disability, or bankruptcy, they've got the experience and they've got your back.
So don't go it alone. Make the right call. Dial 866-314-3728 or visit CadellReynolds.com today.
Flight by Yuengling is the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yuengling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this This is premium refreshment, 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling and Son Incorporated, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
The doors are open, and it's a new era of elegance. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry has unveiled its stunningly redesigned 8,500 square foot showroom for an unmatched luxury experience. There's breathtaking jewelry, of course, expert service, and private viewing rooms designed for comfort. And they've got an in-house cafe with handcrafted coffee to go along with a special coffee table book celebrating Arkansas's heritage. Because it's more than jewelry, it's your story at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry.
Arkansas's one-stop automotive shop is right around the corner. Fayetteville Auto Park. FayettevilleAutoPark.com. Chevy, Toyota, Honda, Acura, Collision Center, all in one place. And if you're shopping pre-owned, Fayetteville Auto Park has you covered. With so many new cars sold, we always have a great selection of fresh trades. Why settle for anything less than the best? Fayetteville Auto Park, West Showroom Drive in Fayetteville. Proud sponsor of the Chuck and Bo Show.
At the Stonebreaker Hotel, we believe in the art of gathering, whether over a thoughtfully prepared meal or a quiet moment on Markham Hill. Start your day with breakfast classics from the all-day menu, served from 7:30 to 1. Savor shareable bites from the bar and lounge menu until 10. And let the dinner menu from 5 to 9 bring familiar flavors with a fresh twist. And for a weekend well spent, how about brunch? Rooted in connection, designed for comfort. Learn more at stonebreakerhotel.com. Guys, regardless of our age, feeling good is something we all want. That's what the Sweatnum Edge is all about. It's where health, confidence, and peak performance come together. We all face challenges like low energy, hair loss, who's looking at me, stubborn weight, and skin health. The good news is we can do something about it. Get your free evaluation today and see where you are. Chuck and I have both done it and are better off for it. Log on to SweatnumCosmetic.com and click on the Sweatnum Edge.
You want to talk about washed? You're being brainwashed by idiots. You're following idiots.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Good morning, sir. Anybody that says sleep's overrated is not 66 years old, I'm going to tell you right now.
Boy, you're not lying.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Dave Van Horn understands the Texas rivalry. He's been around a long time. School here, played here, coached here, obviously. I was asked about it yesterday.
Yeah, it's from another sport. My junior year, fall of 81, and we beat Texas 42-11. I think the game started at 11 a.m. and the party stopped about 11 a.m. the next day. It was nuts. And I remember a bunch of students carried the goalposts all the way down to Dixon Street. They closed Dixon Street down. It was a zoo. It's when I mean close it down, you couldn't drive.
Yeah, those are some of the best memories when they shut Dixon Street down for a big Razorback win. This is going to be a fun weekend. I hope you get to go tonight. If you don't have a ticket, I mean, I'd just go down there and figure out a way in. Get in a hog pen. Experience it. Just experience Baum Stadium. This is going to be, wouldn't you say, Bart, at its best this weekend?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's always really good, but like there's just some moments that rise to another level, and tonight I think is one of those nights. Now, apparently, I say all kinds of things on the show, and I don't even always remember what it might be. But Edward says I made a prediction on this series a few weeks ago.
April 21st, the day after Easter.
Oh, so it was a week ago or something. Not that long.
It was like 10 days.
Yeah, okay. All right. What did I say?
Here we go.
How about we just predict a sweep right now?
Okay.
2 weeks. Let's get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
Why not?
you go ahead.
Hey, it's Monday after Easter. Let's get ahead of ourselves. Why not? I was obviously feeling great coming out of the Easter weekend. Why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you be feeling great after a celebration like that? And now went right into a sweep.
You're feeling really good.
I also predicted Arkansas 9-3 in football like 3 months ago. Let's see who this is, Edward. I'm just going to take it cold. Well, nobody. All right, that's why you don't do that. So I got 9-3. I do for fun like to make outrageous predictions. 9-3 in football.
Imagine if that comes true.
Yeah.
How great that'll be.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can go tell everybody how smart I am.
That's right.
I'll get on the text line. I don't know what it is.
But text Chuck on the text line.
I just want to share this with you who's listening right now. If you are ever sort of struggling and you just think, I'm not as smart as I think I am. I'm not this. I'm not that. If you'll get on your phone and you'll punch in 877-377-6963 and begin to text, just start texting. It's uncanny, the knowledge and the smarts and the intelligence that will just flood your mind, and the eloquence in which you will be able to articulate thoughts you didn't even know you had. I don't know what it is about that text line, but it is it's brilliant. It's just brilliance. And I might try that. I might try it the rest of the day on these other shows. I might just see how smart I can be. Because when you get into that text line, I mean, it is just Harvard. Hey, for all of us here at the Chuck and Bo Show, we're going to try again tomorrow. We'll try and do better tomorrow. It's Thursday. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll see you on Friday. Have a great day.
Hey, you can beat inflation and upgrade your ride at Chevy of Fayetteville. Right now, drive home a brand new Chevy Silverado